Hey, it's your girl, your favorite paralegal, aka Cassandra Lynn, and welcome to Legal Doc Talk 24/7. Hope you guys are having an awesome morning. Hey, so this is going to be a little bit different. I am going to read the initial rescissions of harmful executive orders and actions that Trump is claiming is harmful. And he actually rescinded all of these orders as of yesterday. So I'm going to read the list and you guys will make your opinion about how you feel about this list. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, Purpose and Policy. The previous administration has embedded deeply unpopular, inflationary, illegal, and radical practices within every agency and office of the federal government. The injection of diversity, equity, and inclusion into our institutions has corrupted them by replacing hard work, merit, and equality with a divisive and dangerous preferential hierarchy. Orders to open the borders have endangered the American people and dissolved federal, state, and local resources that should be used to benefit the American people. Climate extremism has exploded inflation and overburdened businesses with regulation. To commerce these policies that will make our nation united, fair, safe, and prosperous again, it is the policy of the United States to restore common sense to the federal government and unleash the potential of the American citizen. The revocation within this order will be the first of many steps to the United States federal government will take to repair our institution and our economy. Section 2 reads Revocation of Orders and Actions. The following executive revoked. If you are listening and want to click off, I think you might want to stay on and listen to this. I'm going to read, well, obviously, you guys can see the date, but I'm going to read the orders that have been revoked. Advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. Ensuring a lawful, accurate enumeration and apportionment pursuant to the decennial census. Organizing and mobilizing the United States government to provide a unified and effective response to combat COVID 19 and to provide United States leadership of global health and security. Preventing and combating discrimination on the basis of gender, identity, or sexual orientation. Ethics commitments by executive branch personnel. Protecting public health and the environment and restoring science to tackle the climate crisis. Revocation of certain executive orders concerning federal regulation. Revision of civil immigrant enforcement policies and priorities. Ensuring an equitable pandemic response and recovery. So, God forbid we have another pandemic. Establishing the COVID 19 pandemic testing board and ensuring a sustainable public health workforce for COVID 19 and other biological threats. Improving and expanding access to care and treatment for COVID 19. Give me a second, let me close out some of these windows. Okay. Um, let's see. Protecting worker health and safety. Supporting the reopening and continuing operations of schools and early childhood education providers. Economic relief related to COVID-19 pandemic. Protecting the federal workforce. Enabling all qualified Americans to serve their country in uniform. reforming our incarceration system to eliminate the use of privately owned criminal detention facilities, President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad, strengthening Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, creating a comprehensive regional framework to address the cause of migration, to manage migration throughout the North and Central America, and to provide safe and orderly processing of asylum seekers at the United States border. Establishment of an interagency task force on the reunification of families, restoring faith in our legal immigration systems and strengthening integration and inclusion efforts for new Americans, rebuilding and enhancing programs to resettle refugees and planning for the impact of climate change on migration, establishment of the White House Office of Faith Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, revocation of certain presidential actions, promoting access to voting, establishment of the White House Gender Policy Council, guaranteeing an education and environment free from discrimination on the basis of sex, including sexual orientation or gender identity, termination of energy with respect to the International Criminal Court, establishment of the Presidential Commission on the Supreme Court of the United States, establishment of the Climate Change Support Office, revocation of certain presidential actions and technical amendments. Remind you guys that these orders are now revoked. Climate related financial risk, and I'm talking all the orders. I just took a break in there to let you know that all of these orders that I'm reading have now been revoked. Advancing equity, justice, and opportunity for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Islanders. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in the federal workforce. Strengthening American leadership in clean cars and trucks. Amending Executive Order 14007. White House Initiative on Advancing Education, Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for Hispanics. White House Initiative for Advancing Educational Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for Native Americans and Strengthening Tribal Colleges and Universities. White House Initiative on Advancing Education, Equality, Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for Black Americans. Implementation of the Infrastructure Investment and Job Acts. Non-displacement of qualified workers under service contracts, catalyzing clean energy industries and jobs through federal sustainability, establishing the United States Council on Transnational Organized Crime, advancing economy efficiency and effectiveness in federal contracting by promoting pay equity and transparency, continuing to strengthen Americans' access to affordable quality health coverage, advancing effective, accountable policies and criminal justice practice to enhance public trust and public safety, advancing equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex individuals, implementation of the energy and infrastructure provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, promoting the arts, the humanities, and museums and library services, lowering prescription drugs costs for Americans, establishing the President's Advisory Council on African Diaspora Engagement in the United States, further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government, withdrawal of certain areas off the United States Arctic coast of the outer continental shelf from oil and gas leasing, modernizing regulatory review, revitalizing our nation's commitment to environmental justice for all, moving beyond COVID 19 vaccination requirements for federal workers, safe, secure, and trustworthy development of the use of artificial intelligence, imposing certain sanctions on persons undermining peace, security, and stability in the West Bank, White House initiative on advancing education equity, excellence, and economic opportunity through Hispanic servant institutions, provided an order of succession within the Department of Agriculture, Homeland Security, Department of Justice, Department of Treasury, um, Office of Management and Budget, Office of National Cyber Director, Council on Environmental, oh, I'm sorry, designation of officials of the Council of Environmental Quality to act as chairman, Office of Personnel Management to act as director, Office of Science and Technology Policy to act as director, United States Agency for Global Media to act as chief executive officer, United States Agency for the International Development to act as administrator, United States International Development Finance Corporation to act as chief executive officer, United States Outer Continental Shelf from, oh, wait, hold up. Let me read. Withdrawal of certain areas of the United States Outer Continental Shelf from oil and natural gas leasing. Withdraw the certain areas of the United States Outer Continental Shelf from, why did they do that twice? All right. Certification of rescission of Cuba's designation as the state sponsor on terrorism. Revocation of National Security Presidential Memorandum 5, Executive Order providing for the appointment of alumni of AmeriCorps to the competitive service. Let me read this. So, implementation to effectuate the revocations described in Section 2, what I just read of this order, the heads of each agency shall take immediate steps to end federal implementation of unlawful and radical DEI ideology. B, the Director of Domestic Policy Council and the Director of the National Economic Council shall review all federal government actions taken pursuant to the orders, memorandum, and publication listed in Section 2 of the order and take necessary steps to rescind, replace, and amend such actions as appropriate. Within 45 days of the date of this order, the director in the DPC and the director of the NEC shall submit to the president an additional list of orders, memorandums, and proclamations issued by the prior administration that should be rescinded, as well as list of replacement orders, memorandums, or proclamations to increase American prosperity. C. The National Security Advisor shall immediately begin a complete and thorough review of all national security memorandums issued from January 20, 2021 through January 20, 2025 for the harm to national domestic resilience and the American values. No later than 45 days from the date of this order, the NSA shall recommend to the President NSMs for rescission. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, the functions of the director of the office management and budget relating to the budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. This shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. This order is not intended to or does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural enforceable at law or in equity by any part against the United States, its departments, agencies, or equities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. The White House. I have read to you a list of things that are no longer in place. Put your comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, you all be blessed.